approaching, biorhythms, her time of the month, everything just aligned. And it was a flat course, 40 degrees. And she was passing people left and right. And at 20 miles, this guy came up alongside and said, I've been watching you the last 2 miles. You're unbelievable. Do you mind if I run in with you? And she goes, great. He goes, let's go try and pick off the women. It was a big prize money race, and she ended up finishing 6th that day. She ran her last 6 miles, the fastest of the day. It was an unbelievable day. It was Jeff Galloway. And he didn't stop and walk with her. He didn't say, gentle female, you better stop and walk with her. It was like, let's go get that next woman up there. Kill her, be killed. Anyway, finishing a marathon is a major accomplishment. Finishing a half marathon is something really special. I'd like for you to be able to say to people, you ran the whole way. I think it's a pretty cool notion. So, other questions? You had one here.
Yeah, so I know that you've mentioned in previous years foam rolling as being an important aspect. And I've read in a couple of different places, like people have started to have really different opinions about how do you foam roll and what's the right way. Do you have an opinion or a resource to point us to about that?
I think it's really safe. So you can overdo anything.
Okay.
But I think foam rolling is one of the safer ways to keep your body in tune and stretched and your fibers loose. It's in between the static and the dynamic stretching mode. So dynamic stretching, you guys know, is where you don't touch your body. Static stretching is pushing and pulling. Most of the research today is showing static stretching prior to your exercise is really bad for you, that you weight-bearing exercise you want to do after. But dynamic stretching, skipping, hopping, running backwards, side winding, starting your runs out slowly, that's a great way to warm up properly. But foam rolling, you have to be careful. I think one of the things you have to be careful is when you are actually hurt, and we're seeing this more and more with static stretching, that if you have a sore Achilles or sore calf or sore hamstring, actually now they're saying don't do static stretching at all when it's injured. And the same thing with foam rolling, you have to be careful. It's a preventative tool, and I think what's happening is people aren't using it at all, and then when they get hurt, they suddenly use it. And I think that's where some of the data maybe, or some of the anecdotal stuff is giving it a negative. Because I haven't seen it. It works well. So people are heading out. What other questions? Come on, please.
This survey that you mentioned, I feel like I may have filled that out, but
the online questionnaire. That after there's a questionnaire where you.
You mean the post one or the one to get into the program?
I guess maybe the one to get in.
Yeah, well, if you don't fill out if you go to the website charlottesvilletrackclub.org/marathon, they'll show you that there's like 4 steps, and the first step is to pay, and then the second step is to run a 2-mile time trial, and then the third step is to fill out the online questionnaire, and it'll ask you what your race is, what your goal is, and we were trying to stress that if you're running Richmond, don't fill it out until like mid-June, because Mark's not going to get to your program. But if you're running like Chicago or this rock and roll half marathon in September, like get home and fill out that form now. Because there's some people that are doing like he said, 3 bridges. Well, do not fill out that form, yet, because by the time Mark gets to your program, he's going to have to.
Answers. I want them current answers.
Yeah.
When it says what's your current weekly mileage, if you filled it out 6 weeks earlier, I'm gonna. In fact, last year, I was dating, and I've been doing that this year too. Yeah. Dating the top when I get the programs.
Yeah.
And if I get to the program 6 weeks after that date, I'm calling you on the phone, which is time consuming to track you down and say what's your current weekly mileage. Anything new since you filled this out, because it's ancient history.
Yeah.
Really.
So anyway, somebody had asked me, and I already filled out the questionnaire. I'm doing Richmond. Well, you don't have to. Pretty much, when Mark is going to start writing programs for Richmond, I'll probably send out an email to the people that have already filled out the form saying, okay, he's
anything new.
Anything new.
That's good. That would be great,
yeah.
actually.
So, but if you're running Richmond and you haven't filled out the form, don't do it yet. Check the dates. I think we said like June 9th through the end of
It's not getting you ahead in the class, so to speak.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go in chronological order. It's, I think, the fair way to do it. I really do. It makes sense.
So you said there were 4 steps. That was the third one.
Signing up for the long run coordinator. He was talking about, I will send out a link. I just made the link live on the website today, but I'll be sending out an email after this meeting with a link to the long run coordinator sign up form. And that's the 4th step. So.
Other questions, because we're going to try and wind this down. Come on, there must be some others.
I have several races I'm training for, but I think I had asked already, and they said, because my marathon is not till beginning of January, not to fill it out to fill it like last.
Okay,
But then I'm
yes.
also training for a half in September that I want a PR at. So should I just still fill it out at the end
I
of
would
July?
fill out for the half and just assume that's the event you're doing, and then do another one later on. I can write that program for you in September,
Okay.
but let's get on that half marathon. That way you can get engaged with the group. Other questions? I saw another hand over here. Yes?
Really quickly, for the people who care a lot about the time, what's the general percentage improvement from if you do like a full to a full or a half to a half within a reasonable amount of time?